My name is Vidushi, and today I'm very excited to talk to you about a retrospective and review of the goals that we set in January. Now, January gets all the hype when it comes to resolutions and goals, but it's actually these next set of months that really make or break our goals. And what we offer today is an easy 3-step process plus a free worksheet to help you put all the tips from this podcast into action. But before I dive into the episode for today, here is a little something about me. My name is Vidushi Sandhir and I'm the founder of Deeply Simple, where I provide one-on-one holistic health coaching. I am an Ayurvedic practitioner, a mindfulness meditation teacher, an integrated trauma coach, and a Reiki practitioner. You can check out some resources at www.deeplysimple.info. Let's get to the podcast for today. So, we kicked off the new year with all that excitement, right? And now that things are settling into the usual routine, it's a great time to check in on those goals that we set in January. I don't know if this resonates with you, but in the past, many times, I would fall into this set and forget pattern, where I would set my New Year resolutions with all the gusto, but then I wouldn't really look at them again to see if anything needed to be tweaked or adjusted. And over the years, I've realized that a healthier relationship with goals is to do this review and retrospective with a flexible mindset so that I can meet myself where I'm at and set myself up for success. So in this podcast, we're going to dive into a 3-step guide. Like I mentioned, there is a handy worksheet. You don't really need the worksheet open for the podcast. If you want to do that, you can just grab it right now from the show notes. But having a template makes it really easy to get started. It's like the path to least resistance. So definitely after listening to the podcast, grab your worksheet and take some time out to do this very quick retrospective. All right. So first step, we understand the why of the goal. This is a reminder as to why we decided to pursue a specific goal or resolution. And a simple way to do this is by asking ourselves a simple question. What motivated the goal? What are all the internal and external influences? Internal influences usually are things that are very personal and often unique to us. We also call them our value system. While external motivations are things outside of us, such as society, influencers, latest trends, Auntie Betty's strong opinions, and so on. Usually our goals are motivated by a combination of internal and external influences. Let's make this more tangible with an example. Let's say we have a resolution to work out 3 times a week for an hour in the gym. Now, if this goal is solely externally motivated by, say, vanity or an influencer, then it's highly likely that we'll be very impatient with the goal. We'll compare ourselves a lot with whatever influenced us, and we'll be miserable while pursuing this goal because it truly isn't our goal. It's someone else's. On the other hand, examples of internal motivations or influences for the goal could be, I want to feel strong and carry my groceries easily. I want to be able to climb the stairs at the age of 50. I want to be able to carry my baby without being in pain. Now let's be on the same page. I am not demonizing external motivation. Love me some vanity here and there. We are influenced by the world around us. We are not hermits. The challenge is when a goal is purely motivated by the external. There is no internal motivation. Then it's like walking in someone else's shoes. It's painful, it's uncomfortable, not sustainable, and it's not going to fit. So once we do this for our major goals, maybe there are a few goals where we find that, they seem to be primarily externally motivated. Then what do? Well, first and foremost, we really need to ask ourselves that if this goal is about other people, then why is it even in our list? Because the idea is to live our own life and not that of someone else's, right? So we can either deprioritize the goal, or we can completely let it go if we are ready. And if we are not ready for either of these steps, just take this activity as food for thought. Maybe for the next time you do the retrospective or the next time you set goals. And what about goals that we find are internally motivated? Well, this step is great because we become really clear about those internal motivations. We write them down so that if in the future we hit a patch where we are losing steam or we are losing motivation to keep up with our goal or resolution, then we can look back at this internal motivation and help reaffirm and re-energize our gusto. Now let's talk about step number 2, realistic estimation of the time and effort needed to achieve a goal or a resolution. So now we have had a month or two of tracking our routine, and we can talk time. When we set goals and resolutions, we have to make assumptions, right? On the time we will have at hand to devote to our resolution, as well as the time it will actually take to complete a goal. So now we can ask ourselves, are the initial estimates holding up? Maybe we underestimated. Maybe we overestimated. So take an honest look at your schedule. Is the goal timeline still doable, or does it need a tweak? And this is the time when we have to be flexible, because life throws curveballs, and sometimes plans need to adjust. Instead of fighting it, befriend it, adjust, and then move along. Let's go back to our example. Like I said, we had a resolution to work out in the gym for an hour 3 times a week. But now we look back at the last 2 months and we realize that we haven't been consistent, because maybe the work pressure is stronger than we had imagined. So either we can keep pushing ourselves and stay miserable, or we take the signals and we adjust. And there are many ways in which you can do that. For example, we can decide to opt for shorter workouts, but we do that 4 times a week. So I hope you see how asking these questions is giving us information that we need to tweak, fine-tune, adjust, and make things better. Now let's get to step 3, proactive unblocking. For this, we are going to ask ourselves 2 questions for each major goal. 1, what is blocking or limiting me? And second, what are the next steps so that I can unblock myself? We've all hit a roadblock or 2 in life or in pursuit of goals. It could be lack of resources, self-doubt, skills gap, maybe just life being life. It's only when we identify the blockers, we become aware of them, that we can come up with ways to unblock ourselves, which is why a retrospective like this can be really helpful. So what do we do once we have identified the blockers? Get strategic. What practical things can you do to unblock? Let's go back to our example. Let's say maybe getting to the gym itself is a blocker. Either we can't muster the motivation, or we just hate the traffic and we don't want to spend that time. So now we get to the part where we have to unblock ourselves through some creative solutions. Maybe we decide to try some YouTube at-home workouts, or we invest in a Peloton, or we find a gym buddy who can motivate us to go to the gym. Or we choose a different gym that's closer to, let's say, the workplace where maybe we spend most of our time. So I hope you saw how by asking questions for the major goals around internal and external motivations, estimation of time and effort, as well as blockers, we start to gather important information and actually come up with a strategic plan so that we have a higher chance of sticking with our goals and resolutions in a way that is more true to us. We've all been there. January is that big month for planning, and then bam, back to the same old habits or same old routine. So we are going to do things differently this year. We're going to make February and March our months for adjustments, reprioritization, and reflection. If you enjoyed this podcast, you might also enjoy some other episodes as well as some wellness resources on my website, and you can go to www.deeplysimple.info. If you're interested in working with me, drop me a note at hello@deeplysimple.info, or just schedule a free discovery session on my website. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.